So I did release it. So sometimes we decommit just because we're told or we know, and then we have to stay strong in that commitment to decommit.
You're right. Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to EugeneHolden's Academy of Self-Mastery, where transformation meets action. I'm EugeneHolden. I'm one of your guides on this journey of personal growth, mindset shifts, and deep self-awareness. Each episode, we dive into the tools, wisdom, and strategies you need to break through limitations and step into your highest potential. No fluff, no shortcuts here, just real conversations, practical insights, and a community dedicated to mastery in every area of life. So, if you're ready to unlock your power, elevate your mindset, and create a life by design, then let's get started. Welcome to EugeneHolden's Academy of Self-Mastery. Welcome to the deep end. Welcome, everybody, to another beautiful episode of EugeneHolden's Academy of Self-Mastery. And today I have with me once again the beautiful Ell Graniel, who's here joining me today and in the rest of this month. And as we like to say, the self and self-mastery is lowercase because of the higher self, the capital S self, doesn't need mastering because it is the master. So we are here talking about mastering that little part of us that just gets lost in whatever it gets lost in.
hmm
Yeah. So how are you doing, Al?
I'm doing well. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Good, good. Fantastic. So, Al, today we were speaking about commitment, and as you were saying, commitment is a huge thing because that can cover so much. And because this is the Academy of Self-Mastery, we were talking about commitment to self.
hmm
What does that mean for you?
Commitment to self, when I'm talking about the big S, was something that we teach in the mastery program that made that I never it was never even on my radar until I learned it from Dr. Libby Adams. You with the right guidance, the divine guidance, right? The connection, the whatever it is for you, you can decommit.
Yes.
And that was mind blowing because,
Yes.
these things come up in being trained in back in the 60s and capitalism and all of that. Oh, that makes you a loser, to decommit, to not finish what you start, to change your mind. That makes you flaky, like all these things. And it is so not true. It comes from a place of power.
Yeah.
And again, if other people have a problem with it, that's not your monkey, not your circus. Let it be their problem
Yeah.
because that's how they're choosing to perceive it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was the same time because we were in that at the same time,
hmm
and that also was a great eye-opening time to realize, oh, I can decommit, I can change my mind because that's
hmm
where it went to as well, and it's okay to decommit based on the guidance from a higher power. But
hmm
no, but you made a commitment. Yeah, you're
hmm
right. And now I'm changing that because that works for me and everything else.
hmm
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about how wardrobe's a form of communication. And this happened to me back in the 90s. I had a business that helped people with that. And I was about to put a lot of money into it. This was back in the day when there were trifold brochures and websites were very expensive. And I was ready to up level, but there was something about it that's like, I didn't know. I felt uneasy, right? So doing the work that we do, I checked in and it was very much a no,
Hmm.
this is not the tree, for
Hmm.
you. And to bear the fruit that you're imagining. And I remember being pissed. Like, what do you mean? I've already been doing this 3 years. How
Hmm.
is this not the tree? And from that place of anger and frustration, I get no answer. right? Because I'm not in that elevated state to be able to receive the divine guidance. So I did release it. So sometimes we decommit just because we're told or we know, and then we have to stay strong in that commitment to decommit.
You're right. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you a question with something that you just said, and as basic as this may sound to folks, there are some people who may not know what it means when you said, I checked in.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So there are a lot of ways to do this. Some people pray, some people meditate. The work that we do is a combination. And you find that space through breath, through calming down to get into the alpha level of consciousness. How do you know you're there? Because your ego isn't running amok like the Tasmanian devil in the cartoons. And then you ask your question. So in that case was, I'm feeling uneasy about this. What do I need to know? And the answer was, this is not your tree. Now, I knew what that meant. Somebody
Hmm.
else, if that was all you read in the script, you'd be like, what does that mean? And it was really clear what that meant. And so that's for me, that's the process. And there are a lot of ways to connect and check in. Um, and I'm laughing because number one, you have to have faith
Mm,
that you're going there and we're going to see what happens, right? Because I went there wanting information. I didn't go there wanting to be told, throw in the towel.
right.
I did not think that was what was going to happen. Now,
Right.
here I am using language, right? That I'm taught, like, don't give up, don't throw in the towel, don't be a loser, don't decommit, which is different, my friend, than when people are flaky, meaning that,
Right.
I said meh, that kind of vibration. No, 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 that's not what we're talking about.
And that's a great point that I'm glad that you brought up because it is not being a flake, right? I just don't feel like doing it. No, this is a decommitment coming from a place of a higher guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And checking in, as you said, there are so many ways of doing that, and being and trusting that intuition. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
taking, and it doesn't, well, for me, it doesn't really take long to check in once we start to practice it, right? We
Right.
practice and to breathe, to take a nice deep breath, stop, take a breath, check
Mm-hmm.
in, ask the question for clarity, and then listen for the answer. And I'm laughing because then it's be willing to accept what the answer is and follow the guidance. No,
Yes.
not that answer.
My
Yeah,
mom said a lot of things and that I still, kind of live by. And one of them was, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
right, right. Man, ask
So,
me no questions, I'll tell you no lies, right? That whole thing, right?
yeah,
You know.
exactly.
And I've been saying this, I've been putting it this way, El, that we are as human beings, we are so beautifully, the word used to be created, right? We are so beautifully created. But I changed that for me to we're so beautifully crafted. Right? We are crafted in such a beautiful way with all of these tools that we have, emotions and feelings and breath and thoughts and it's just beautiful that we have all of these tools available to us and then committing to ourselves to find out what those are, then learning how to use them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And just that word craft alone is beautiful, right? Like craft is a boat, can take you somewhere, a craft, an
Mm.
aircraft, right? And then we call it our craft, or they are crafting people who have, fun things that they like to do. There's just so many positive words associated with it. And then, someone might say, okay, well, then there's witchcraft. And it's also a creation of something.
Yeah.
And, I have a different perspective on that,
You and I
obviously.
both. Right.
And then what's really funny is my brain went with, why would you be a a Coors Light when you could be a craft beer,
I
right?
remember
Why
you
not
saying
be a
that last
strawberry
time.
blonde ale if why not go for the craft, so they call it craft beer. That means
Right.
it's special.
Yeah.
There's something about that as we are human beings and we are crafted in such a way that also allows the neuroplasticity for change,
Yeah.
which is, I think, the miracle that, yeah.
If you don't mind, I'll speak a little more to that, the neuroplasticity of change.
Hmm. Yeah. So, this is my life's work. So let me think, where am I starting? I think here's the three things that I'd like people to understand from a base level is number one, I believe people know that your brain has a lot of neuroplasticity, meaning it's adaptable, it's changeable. That's how we learn things, right? The brain doesn't get bigger. It just has a lot of pathways that it can take. So we get good at things and we build those pathways and we build up our competency in those levels. Well, a person could build up a competency towards resentment or
Yes.
towards laziness or and you can change that, also because we're all born with this brain that has the ability to adapt and then nurture. So by nature, we get this brain that's adaptable. Then nurture starts to put all those squiggles and those lines in those directions. And there's a saying, what fires together, wires together, and vice
Right.
versa. So with thought, conscious effort, awareness, you can say, I don't want that anymore. And you can use your own neuroplasticity to say, well, what do I want? Here's my three again. How can I get there and who can help me? Because it's it's only it's like somebody gave you a new road that's a shortcut to the river, but you don't ever take it. You keep
Mm-hmm.
taking the same road that you've always been taking, and you have that road. But you'll take it once in a while and go, why don't I always take this road? So neuroplasticity, when we want to commit to change, is to then also say, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. I am now that.
Yes.
And otherwise, you know, we do go back to homeostasis, right? Let's go with what's easy. The brain is designed to just keep us in flow in an easy state. So when we're using the neuroplasticity for change, the brain's a little like, what's happening?
Right.
And but then once we get it, then the brain goes, oh, this is the new path. Okay. So there's that little bit where you
Yeah.
gotta want it.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's I might want to add to that. You got to want it enough to discipline oneself to practice
Yes.
because it's not a one and done thing.
Yeah, what does Reverend Melissa say? It's not practice makes perfect.
Practice makes progress.
Practice makes progress. Write
Yeah.
that down, people.
Write that down.
Put that on a t-shirt.
It's not that practice makes perfect, it's practice makes process. No,
Yes, progress.
progress. Yeah,
Yeah.
practice makes progress. Yeah.
Hmm.
So for the longest time, to flip that, but using that same tool, I used to have the practice of thinking that I was less than,
Hmm.
that nobody wants to hear what I have to say. That was my practice. And boy, did I progress in that,
Hmm.
progress in that
Yeah,
until I found that it wasn't working,
right.
because there was something within me saying, this isn't working. You know,
Exactly.
again, being so beautifully crafted, having those emotions that tapped me on the doorway of my heart, going, that's not why you're here. This is not why we're here.
Hmm.
Like, okay, well, why are we here?
Hmm.
Uh-oh, I asked that question.
Yeah, that question.
It's like, oh, sheesh. Why am I here?
Uh-huh.
Oh, let's create a purpose statement.
Yes.
Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Yeah.
And I got my why am I here a long time ago doing this work. It's the foundation of it. And over nearly 30 years, it's still the same to be the light of truth, creating love, empowerment, and serenity for all who wish it. Now, that's the purpose. And then that turns into a mission statement. So how
Yes.
do I live that?
Yes.
And then I hold everything up to that
Yes.
purpose. And then it helps me make decisions.
Yes.
And so, but it's the living it, not just the lofty knowing it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's the living it. And how do we live it? Well, for me, it's let me continue to focus on what my purpose is, and then what are those three? Let me go back to those real fast.
Oh, my
Oh,
three favorite questions.
yeah, I just had it here. What do I want? I
Hmm.
want to serve my purpose. How do I get there? Okay, let's find out what's the best way to do that, and who can help me get there? Who can help me serve this? Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Now, again, going back to neuroplasticity, so some people feel like they fail to plan because it's overwhelming. Like, where do I start? Right.
right.
And so there's two ways to plan. Well, there's more than two, but just giving people an idea. So you can do from the bottom up, like here I am today. Here's where I want to be in 3 months. So whatever the plan is. And then you kind of, make a little timeline of actions. Again, who can help me? What do those steps look like? Those same questions. For some people, you start at the top. So it's like you imagine yourself in Hawaii on vacation already. And then what does that look before you got there? What does that look like? Oh, well, we made the reservations. We got on the plane, we packed the luggage, what are all those things before? Then you come back to, well, what does that look like today? Well, it looks like looking at flights and seeing what dates and times work. So you can take that first step when you go from the top back. But when you're sitting here going, I really want to plan a trip, but it's too expensive. I don't know when I'm going to have time. Like, whoa, okay. When you're at the bottom, for some people, they can't see the mountaintop.
Hmm.
So if that's the case, then in your mind, just go to the as done and then work yourself back to sitting here in this moment, asking yourself these questions.
Yeah,
So there's more than one way to commit to that. It can be from as done to today or from today to completion.
yeah, yeah. And there are so many ways, everyone, to shift, the way that we do this thing called life.
Yeah.
There's so many ways. And for me, one of the first ways for me was to realize that the way that I was living, it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And this is just for me. And though it wasn't working, really going to say that? Yeah, I didn't have the courage to speak up to make whatever changes that could have been made, I think. I
Hmm.
didn't have, the courage to speak up about that. So
Hmm.
the universe, spirit, mind, whatever we want to call it, or how about this? My higher self said, okay, we're going to do this in a way where you have to look at this. Where
Exactly.
where you have to look at, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be going.
Hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, and I also during that process, I'll learn to ask for whatever I want with with ease and grace,
Yeah,
because at that
exactly.
time it wasn't so easy or grace filled.
Yes.
You know,
And you mentioned courage a couple times, and we did a podcast episode on that a couple months ago. Like we talked all about what it looks like to be courageous
yeah,
and and how to take those first steps. And especially when things look hopeless, to stay courageous,
yeah,
it employs asking other people, hold my hand, be with
yeah,
me, walk me through this.
yeah,
How did you manage this? You know,
yeah,
um, yeah. And so when we're talking again about self-mastery and the commitments that we make, it's also helpful from a neuroplasticity standpoint. Make a list of all the things you've done well.
yes.
Fill the pages, big
Write
and
that down.
small.
Yeah,
big and small,
Yeah.
because that tells your brain, specifically the habanula, that you're good at doing these things. And then it will help you get more of those things that you enjoy
Yeah.
because you're helping it understand that this is what brings you joy by putting it back in front of you again.
Yeah.
And we can go all the way back to I learned how to walk. And you're like, well, everybody does that. Yeah, well, yeah, at their own pace, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest learned how to walk between the coffee table and the couch, touch, 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 and then was walking, but walking sideways. So
Huh.
when she would walk, not between here, she'd walk sideways. And this was during the time of MC Hammer. I wish there was viral videos back in the day. And so I was mildly concerned, oh, what did we do? Because it was a small apartment.
Right.
And of course, she learned how to direction it in a
Right.
very short amount of time. So again, another example of just because it looks like things are going sideways doesn't mean they're always going to be going sideways. Have faith, take a step in a different direction,
Yeah.
and yeah, have
Yeah.
someone hold your hand.
But I want to repeat what you just said, Al, to everybody. Write down all of the things that you've done well, no matter how small.
hmm And then you could make a list of the things that you've decommitted to
Mm,
and how that's been a great thing. Like I see now, or after it happened, when I left that business, I see why that happened. But I had to have the courage to know that I was going to let it go.
yeah.
Um, and there's just so many things that we have left behind or changed or given up or decommitted to. And it almost always we're going to say it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Mm, yeah.
And that doesn't mean that the process wasn't, a painful growth,
Right.
right? But otherwise, we just keep showing up the same way, just in different clothes with different people in a different city,
Right. Right.
right? Until we're willing to commit to the changes that we know we're ready for,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we're ready for.
So let me ask you this question. How do you know, how would you say or tell people, how do you know when it's time to decommit?
Just start feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You wake up unhappy, you have trouble sleeping, you have digestive problems for no real apparent reason, So this goes back to your body is the temple that houses your beautiful soul. So when your soul is in distress, it's going to vibrate that out and through the body. And so you're going to start feel things like, why am I achy? Why do I have insomnia? Why things that aren't really a regular thing for you, like, oh, this is new. And then here's another chance to get quiet, take some breaths, allow yourself that peace and serenity that comes from the fuller breath and the conscious awareness of wanting to calm down. And you can specifically say to the new knee pain, what's up? I'm listening.
Hmm.
Right. And then there's Louise Hay has the books on there's things you can chant that are related to disorders in the body. Like there's some misalignment that you can use. Now, we've talked about this before. I'm not a huge fan of chanting affirmations because that's neuroplasticity. That's not how it works. You don't get lasting change just by chanting something 100 times a day. You get it by desire and the emotion that goes with it. Uh, and so I've said this before, we have great relationships with our brain. If I say I'm a millionaire,
Hmm.
then my brain says, who are you talking about? I, no matter how many times a day I chant, I'm a millionaire, and people will disagree with me, but I bet you they haven't studied brain science. If you have and you disagree, let's talk. I want to talk because I like getting all sides of the story. Anyway, I digress. So, what's a baby step? A baby step is uh, I want to be better at saving money. I can be better at saving money. I don't need 51 pairs of shoes. I want to have a closet that represents who I am. I don't, anything that's related to why your money isn't where you want it to be, start there with that baby step.
Yeah.
I'm asking for a raise.
Yeah.
I'm, I'm gonna take a look at my savings and see what the interest rate is. So there's just so many other ways. So that's you're here today, whereas the mountain is at the top. So other people can imagine, well, what would it be like if I was a millionaire? What would I have? What would I do? How would I spend my time? And then let that emotion help vibrate this as a truth for you instead of it just being a mantra.
Yeah.
If I say this enough, things will change. And we know that's not true, especially if you've ever raised teenagers.
Mm, mm. Right.
If I have to tell you one more time.
Oh
So
gosh.
yes.
Again, being beautifully crafted like we are. And I love what you just said. I can affirm this all day long, but if my feeling is that I'm not what I am saying, if my feeling is, no, you're not. No, you're not. As you said, the brain is like, well, who are you talking to? And who are you
Mm-hmm.
talking about, actually? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but when I start to feel, and I love what you said, I don't have to, I'm gonna be a millionaire in 6 months. Okay. That's again, the brain goes, huh? What are you talking about? But to start here, okay, I want to be at this particular level with this amount of money in this amount of time, but let me
Mm-hmm.
start here. Let me start here, and then start to feel that. Yeah. It's
Yes.
it's that feeling tone that I believe a lot of people in the way in spiritual circles or abundance circles don't really talk enough about is the feeling tone behind the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, using that example, I can affirm all day long that all of my needs are met. But if my feeling is no, I will always experience lack. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that universal intelligence, whatever we want to call it, is going to create from what I feel.
Yes. So for example, if I say I want to buy my mom a first class plane ticket to visit me, I just made a statement.
Yes.
When I want that to be a thing, I'm closing my eyes and I'm feeling the joy of watching her face light up
Mm,
when I tell her. I'm seeing her on the plane in first class, eating everything and just being so excited. I'm seeing picking her up at the airport and throwing, her arms around me. That's what a first class ticket is all about.
yeah.
It's not about the $1,200.
Right.
It's not about, I want to buy my mom a first class ticket. It's about all of that. I just closed my eyes and witnessed and created, crafted.
Right.
I
Right.
crafted that experience and my vibration elevated. And the joy that came from that adventure in my imagination was priceless.
Yeah.
And we know that the brain doesn't know the difference, right? Because when we dream, we thrash, we talk, and even in reality like this, how many times has someone had an argument in their head with someone, and then you know them well, and they're going to say that, and then you're going to say this, and you literally start getting as though if you're in the argument.
Yeah.
Your physiology matches
Yeah.
being in an argument and it's all in your head.
Oh.
So why not use that crafty mind of ours to
Yeah.
create beautiful things?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it is crafty.
Yeah.
I love words, right?
Oh, absolutely. I had a vision of you when you were talking about you didn't feel, like you were enough. And so then if we just start with I'm enough. I am now enough. Okay. Still not going to work. And the picture I had in my brain was you in like a superhero costume with a big E on your chest, which also stands for Eugene, but it was for Captain Enough. right?
Mm,
And so that's too big of a bridge to go from today I don't feel worthy enough to I am now enough. Like, how would I feel if I was enough? What would
yeah.
that look like? Who would be in my life? What would I be doing?
Mm,
How would I be sleeping? How would I be eating?
break it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Break it down.
No, I'm telling you, I'm saying it to you, break it down, Al.
Oh.
Like, teach, sister. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But you're right, though. Let's break it down into small. How would I feel being enough? But I love the way that you broke that down, right? How would I feel being enough?
Mm-hmm.
How would I show up? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I told you, genius. Um,
Thank you.
you're
And
welcome.
this was explained to me recently because I was kind of whining about influencers. And so what happens is, say I want to be like this influencer, and I know that she has this kind of smoothie. I know that she does yoga. I know because all of this is, they share this with you. So I do those things to be more like them. And in the process, I'm having smoothies. I'm doing yoga. So sometimes following the healthy path of others is a way to kind of attach ourselves to that superhero cape,
Hmm.
and kind of like take me along with you
Right,
until one day we stand on our own,
right,
right? Hopefully, ideally, we're
right.
not constantly obsessed with the next thing and the next thing. Or we say, why the heck am I drinking liver smoothies? I just, I don't know why I did that. I'm done with
Mm,
that, so
right,
sometimes we decommit.
right. Yeah, yeah. The decommitment reminds me. I think the blog was last week or 2 weeks ago, um, about the difference between acceptable and not and what's not acceptable, and this was not in the blog. So things are acceptable for me until they're not. And then when they're not, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to decommit because this doesn't feel good. I know that I said that I was, and I accept what's going on, but it doesn't work for me now. So I'm going to decommit because I want to be committed to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
really? Great question. Thank you. This is kind of a well, a left turn. Because we're speaking about the self. And I was thinking about this in a different way, El, being self-conscious. Because
Mm,
people talk about, well, they're so self-conscious. And it's like, okay, well, let's take out that lower S self, I mean, and
hmm
put a capital S and be conscious of that self.
hmm
What does that feel like?
hmm
What does it
Yeah.
feel like to step into that and to step from that, to live from that?
hmm
Commitment, committed to self.
Yeah, the big S. And that's where we're blessed to feel the incongruencies.
Yes.
Oh, I've been ignoring that I don't like that too long because
Mm,
I believe that we know what we shouldn't be eating, what we shouldn't be doing, what we shouldn't be hanging out with these people, and I'm not talking about the shooting all over ourselves, but that language alone is a kickstart, a yellow flag, if you will, and what are you going to do about it?
yeah. And what are you going to do?
Hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that goes back to it takes courage, and the questions, well, what do I want? How am I going to get there? Who can help me? And the who can help me, I think, is a big overlooked fact because people want to be of service.
Yes.
And so allow them,
Yes.
like nobody's going to come to me and say, can you make a dozen cupcakes for my kid's birthday party? That's not my wheelhouse. Nobody's going to do that. They're going to say, could you write me a birthday card? I want
Right.
something special, right? Because that's in my wheelhouse.
Right.
So And it would make me super happy to do that.
Right.
And so asking people, support me in these areas I'm struggling. And sometimes you got to get quiet first to find out who those people are,
Yes.
right? Because you don't want somebody gossiping that you're having trouble or challenges.
Right.
You don't want people talking about you behind your back, right? So you want to make sure that you're enlisting the support and the aid of people you trust and people
Yeah.
who love you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important. Those two things that you said, people you trust and people who love you.
Hmm.
And when I get quiet, it's not hard to identify who they are. It's
Yeah.
everybody. No, but really, to identify those people that that you trust and who love you.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, to be committed to self enough to have the courage enough to ask for help.
Yes.
Man, that was a huge one for me to heal. I,
Now, myself was developed uppercase. My mom was really good about bragging about all of us children all the time. She put my crappy artwork up on the refrigerator because that's not my, area necessarily, but it went up there. So my whole life, we were good enough, good enough, good enough, right?
mm,
So what happened was the flip side of that was when I became an adult, I thought, I can never let my mom down.
mm,
So I can never tell her anything's wrong. I can never share with her
wow.
that I'm not worthy of being on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And that lasted for decades, decades until we had a real heartfelt conversation about something else that led to that. Right. And so I'm sharing that story for people to understand that people who love us aren't judging us because we made a mistake in our mind. We made a poor choice. We're stuck in a decision that's not serving us. Many times they're going to say, I had no idea. I wish you had told me sooner.
Right.
So, so do that,
Yeah.
because you're going to know the people, and I can think of a couple in my life who are going to go, well, why did you let that happen?
Right. Right.
That's not the trust and love people we were speaking of
Oh,
earlier.
yeah, we love them and we let them go. We don't want to, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes. So allow people to share their gifts and talents with you
Yeah.
and share yours with them, which includes a little vulnerability at times.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
takes courage.
Yeah. Whew. So to conclude what can never really be concluded, any last words or
Mm.
parting words, because they're not last words, regarding commitment to two selves, the lowercase s and the uppercase self.
Mhm. Mhm. Uh, I believe simply put is understanding that we have the lowercase s. Those are the little parts that were created over time when we weren't emotionally able to deal with things. Then we have who we know we are, because it's in alignment with who we are. And so to keep asking yourself before you make a decision, before you commit, is this in alignment with my big S? Or does it feel more like my lowercase s saying, what the heck? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, funny quick story. I was just at a party. I'm just going to summarize this quickly. So it's a bunch of grown adults in their 60s and 70s. All of a sudden, it turned into drinking shots of tequila.
Oh,
So this is peer pressure. Everybody's doing it. And I'm not willing, I'm not wanting. It's not in alignment with my big S. So it wasn't easy to say, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, come on. There was that, still, that was that again. But they got over it. Like I just stood my ground,
Yeah.
and they in a nice way.
Right.
I'm like, no, no, no. For starters, it was 5 in the afternoon or early evening.
Oh, oh, oh.
Anyhow, I know that those people will still be my friends. I can go
Right.
hang out. I'll just be mindful of that particular cocktail mix of human beings, maybe not that group. So that, was the long story to say the small S could have just said, just do a couple, just be fun, just be friendly.
Right.
But myself, like, look, I sat up.
Yeah.
Myself said, we don't do that for anybody.
Yeah.
Um, so, and today's no exception.
Right. And today's no exception.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So this week, everyone, whenever you watched this, for the next week, make a commitment to yourself, the capital S self, to tap into who you really are,
Mhm.
and to tap into what is it that you really want. Then ask that second question, how do I get there? And then who can I call? Who can help me?
Mhm.
And that takes commitment. My beautiful, beautiful, beloved friend Elle, thank you so much once again.
My pleasure.
And everybody, thank you for tuning in. And as I like to say, tell a friend. Let folks know that this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time here on Eugene Holden's Academy of Self-Mastery.
Yay.
Bye.